Hello and welcome to the FSA podcast, where we teach online fit pros how to sell at a higher rate and scale their business with more profit. Today, I am joined by Ryan Hodgkins. This guy has a very impressive background. He's been in the industry for 14 years. He's published 4 books, scaled a few in-person gyms, ran multiple boot camps, and now he focuses primarily on the online portion of his business. And he's done all of that while being a dad. Is that right? 2 kids?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
A dad and a husband, man. You stay busy, don't you?
I try. Yeah, I try. I'd be bored if I wasn't.
Yeah, I tell you what, I appreciate you hopping on, man. So, like I was kind of talking to you beforehand, one of the new things that we're doing with the FSA podcast, I'm going to give a lot of free advice. I'm going to be like the Dave Ramsey for for fitness coaches. You guys come on, you guys ask questions, you guys tell me where you're at. I'm going to load you guys with free actionable advice. I'm going to give it away for free on all platforms, and my hope is that it helps some, various fit pros at different levels of their business. What do you say?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Cool, man. You've been in the industry for 14 years. What made you go online?
Long story short was I suffered with a bit of a mental health breakdown when my first business scaled. I went from being just a 23-year-old personal trainer with only me and a handful of clients to worry about. And within about 18 months, I then had a child. I was getting married. I had a boot camp business with 5 locations, another business with 2 gyms. It just overwhelmed me, and I think that we'd sort of lost touch with the client. So I joined the fitness industry genuinely because I wanted to work with people and wanted to help people.
Sure.
It actually turned out that I was then managing staff and managing locations as opposed to actually working with the person that I wanted to be helping at the time.
Got it. Okay.
I wanted to leave the fitness industry. It was like even like applying for jobs, and I'm not really the most employable person.
And why is that?
And then Ellie, who's my wife, was like, "You've got too much passion to leave this industry. Like, we just need to find a way to make it work." So we moved online about 8 or 9 years ago, I think, before it was as big as it is now, and it was a way to find a way that we could sort of work on our passion without having to rely on other people all the time.
Yeah, makes sense. 8 or 9 years ago. That's like 2015, 2016?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
That's wild. It's wild. That was almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
Feels
Crazy.
weird to say. So you guys got in at a good time. I mean, one of my best friends at that time, I was just heading off to college around like 2013, 2014. I was a freshman in college. One of my really good friends was just starting his online business in fitness. And I think 2014 or 2015, he exploded onto the scene. Did you experience something similar, or was it different for you?
No, it wasn't. I think I had a big sort of, a lot of people knew me in Jersey, where I'm from. Jersey in the Channel Islands, a small island, and everyone had heard about my name because the business we'd grown. And I was then getting on calls with people, talking to them about the online coaching. Online coaching wasn't well known about, and they're like, "Oh, so when do I meet you? When do I come to your classes?" And no, this is for a separate thing. So there was a real struggle with the disconnect from that type of thing, because I had the other business that was selling itself at the time. It was like literally, at the time, I look back now, it's probably a bit like printing money, because it just felt like clients were coming into us, whereas I was having to graft my backside off for this online coaching, and I would be like getting onto calls, and straight away it's like, "Oh, so when do I meet you? When am I going to see you?" So we had that barrier. So we ended up moving away from Jersey to cut ties, left the businesses behind, and it was probably the hardest decision that we ever did, but I had to do it for my mental health, because it was just getting me down, which slowed everything a lot. I think it did slow things. I would say our main growth has probably been in the last 18 months, when we changed the way that we structured things. I think back prior to that, we had a limiting beliefs around charging and what we were charging and what we were worth. As soon as we sort of overcame that and started charging a higher ticket what we feel like we're worth, our business scaled.
Nice. Okay. What did you enjoy more, in person or online?
Online,
100%.
Really? I think.
Which aspects?
I do think a lot of fitness professionals will think that online is easier. They see the laptop lifestyle, and it's like you sit there by a pool and stuff like that. But I think that online, I personally feel I get a greater impact on someone's life, because it's not just about a workout. It's not just about a nutrition plan. I'm, having conversations with people that are much deeper than just a workout and a plan. They're just a very small part of the overall product or service that they're getting. And I think that it's actually, I'd say, can be more demanding at times, but in a good way, because I feel like it's more fulfilling. They're telling me like, oh, they've got better relationships with their other half. Their kids are looking up to them more. There's a lot more, to me, a lot more sort of, I get self-reward from it.
Sure. And how big is the team that's with you?
So we've got 5 coaches, including me and Ellie, who's my wife and business partner. Then we have 3 appointment setters.
Beautiful.
Me and Ellie both have a VA each as well. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you guys are rocking and rolling.
Yeah, not too bad. It was, and that was another thing that was probably quite difficult at first as well, was sort of getting the idea of outsourcing things and being able to focus on what we're good at. I think that as fitness people and entrepreneurs, you want to do everything yourself, don't you? And it's being able to sort of let go in the right way.
What do you feel like? There's a lot of fitness coaches. There's a lot of people in the space already, and then there's a ton of people that are just getting into the space, that are leaving like 9-to-5s, nursing jobs. I talk to these guys all the time, right? What do you think is like the main challenge that a new online fitness coach or somebody transitioning from online, what's the main challenge that they face?
I would probably say it's generating consistent leads or interest, and I guess it's probably doing something to stand out or being confident to do things to stand out. I think a lot of the time, and this is something that I've seen a lot, even I struggle with it myself, when you first start putting yourself out there on social media, it's remembering who you're talking to. A lot of people that I see that have just started in the fitness industry are trying to impress other fit pros, and I'm like, they're not going to pay your bills. They might be someone who like what you're doing, but they're not going to pay your bills. So it's remembering who you want to work with. I think the more specific you are on understanding that person is going to help you be able to communicate to them better online to attract them, and then the selling becomes a lot easier, I suppose.
Yeah, it does, especially when you have like that. It's more trust than anything, right? Because when people see your face and they see that you have a big following, they associate you with like getting good results, right? And they immediately believe like what you're doing is legitimate. So like
that's it.
It's just trust. Now you're someone who has a pretty big following, right? And you've obviously carved a path where you've been able to stand out in an industry that is, a lot of people say it's saturated. It's so big. I think we're still a little ways away from being saturated.
Yeah.
How have you been able to establish and kind of brand yourself in a way to build a profile the way that you have?
I think a lot of it's been consistency, showing up every day. I remember when I first started doing live videos, this was when Facebook Lives were a big thing. And I'd done a live video. I went on a mindset course, and part of it, we then had a 90-day program after it. And we had to do a live video for 90 days. And it was called, we had to do positive focuses. And I started doing my videos every day. And it was like a 3 to 5 minute video, something that went wrong, and we had to flip it and turn it around how it was positive.
Nice.
And everyone in my local area started taking the piss out of me by doing these videos, like just mocking me, and it proper, like, I was gutted and it hurt. So I was like, how do I get around this? And it was like, the other people that were on the course, a lot of them stopped doing videos and never did them. And I was like, how do I get this back? So then, as it happens, I decided I'm going to do another video about them, and I'm going to tag the people that have been taking the piss out of me, saying like, they've been taking the piss out of me doing this video. How's it positive? And I was like, it's positive because more people are hearing my message. And like, it sort of shut them all up, and I carried on doing it. And it, I just built my confidence that now I'm like, I'm not doing it for anyone other than I know who I want to help. I help busy professional men that haven't got much time. They've got busy family lives. They're successful in their career. I know that's the person I'm talking to. If another fitness professional or one of my mates doesn't like my video, they're not my client. They're not my ideal client.
They're not paying your bills. Not paying your bills.
That's
so
it.
People like local people saw that you were putting out videos, and they like took it as an opportunity to
a lot
give
of
you some
lads
shit.
my age, a lot of my lads my age. I think it was a bit. I look back now and I'm like, do you know what? It's probably just a reflection that I had the confidence to do it, and no one else was doing it at the time. But at the time, I was proper gutted. It like I had to pick myself up.
Well, I can appreciate that. I mean, that was if I can be fully transparent here, that was one of my biggest fears, like going into the online space. I remember like I got my start. I actually went to another business coaching conference because a lot of my initial clients that I was selling for belonged to another coaching program. And they're like, do you want to come to the, the live event? I said, sure. Yeah. I want to meet all these people I've been selling for and maybe network with a few others. And, word had kind of got out that I was doing a good job selling, and somebody asked me like, "What's your Instagram?" And I was like, "I don't even have one." And they're like, what are you talking about? You don't have an Instagram?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, nobody wants to see that stuff." They're like, "No, you have to have an Instagram where you post tips and do all this and post
Yeah.
content." I'm like, "Dude, that's cringy." I was like, Me going on video now. I have, we're 50 some videos into a podcast, and I have hundreds of seminars and online videos, and it's a scary thing to
It
get on video,
is.
to get in front of a camera and put yourself out
Yeah.
there and try to like drop some knowledge. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm different than everyone, but I was terrified of pretty much exactly what happened to you, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time as well, because we're with FitPros that are maybe concerned about that is sometimes showing vulnerability is important. I think
Yep.
that I've suffered with mental health, and when I've shared that, I always have context to it, but I always end up with people that will then reach out because I've shown that vulnerability. Like
Yep.
it's all great us fitness professionals acting like everything's all cupcakes and unicorns, but having a bit of a struggle and how we overcame it. So how you're nervous on videos is probably how they would feel when they first walk into a gym, and it's
There
recognizing
you
that
go.
you can see the correlation and use that. Then it becomes so much more powerful, and yeah, people relate to it. And even if you're nervous, I look back at my first videos and I'm like,
Oh,
fucking hell, was that really me?
it's
It's
so bad.
just, yeah,
Yeah. I remember my first post, Brooke and I were just talking about this the other day. We were in Hawaii, like, because I was just starting C4F, and again, I was just starting the coaching portion. I had some clients, but I still didn't have that Instagram, and I was like, you know what? It's been sitting there. I created it. It just had no posts. I'm like, I'm gonna do a post. I was like, Brooke, how do you make all these cool posts? She goes, oh, it's called Canva. I'm like, cool. Let me download Canva. I
how do I
remember,
use that?
yeah, dude, from the app sucked. We were on a trip to like go on a hike in Hawaii. It was like a 2-hour trip. It took me 2 hours to put together the worst post you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it was so bad. It was just like this weird cartoonish graphic, and it got like one like. I was like, sick. 2 hours. So glad I finally got out there and made this Instagram, man. Really raking it in now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to get yourself out there. And it's kind of like a band-aid though, because like for instance, like my family, and like there's like two parts of every business owner, right? Like you have your business life and all those colleagues and all the leads and everybody and how they see you, and then your family, right?
yeah.
I was always terrified that like some friends and family would like find my profile and see like 900 videos of me dropping sales stuff and be like, dude, you're a nerd. But yeah, there's just like a
Yeah,
band-aid. It's just like you just stop caring.
yeah, that's exactly it. And I think when you recognize that, it's like I use social media. In my head, it's a work platform. I know it's social, and I
Yep.
know and it's about being social. But everyone even my friends, my family, they know that I'm on there for mostly for work. And I think that
Hmm.
when you see it as a work tool, it can be amazing. I say that we've got trainers that work for us in our health club, and we'll have people walk into our health club and they're like, I've seen your videos everywhere, I've
Yeah.
never liked them. And then the trainer's looking at me and I'm like, how many times I told you, like, get videos out there because
Yes.
people do see you. It's one of those things, and it makes you so much. It positions you as an expert straight away. The first thing
Hmm.
I would do if I wanted a trainer, would look on social media. What are they doing? What are they
Absolutely.
sharing? What are they, you know, what content, what value are they putting out there, and what is their personality like? If I can't see any of that,
Yep.
I'm probably never going to want to have a call with them anyway.
And if it's, I'm talking about people out there that are maybe newer, and maybe you want to post something on Facebook, but if you find yourself thinking, oh man, this is going to be like, I hope so and so doesn't see this. I hope my ex-boyfriend or somebody like that doesn't see this. Clean out your profile. I mean,
Yeah,
if you have that voice in the back of your head that's like, should I post this? It's kind of embarrassing. I don't really want my friends to see that. Get rid of them. Get rid of
yeah,
them. Make a second Facebook, do something, but you can't have that in the back of your mind every time you make a post like, man, this, I hope so and so doesn't see this. And this is in the beginning phases, but like
yeah,
just get
yeah.
rid of them.
Yeah. And
Yep.
you'll never be judged by anyone doing better than you, ever.
Never. Nope. Say that one more time.
You'll never be judged by anyone doing better than you.
There you go. There you go, guys. So now you mentioned the vulnerability aspect, right? And how you've been able to share things. And I want to touch on that for a minute because I just got off a one-to-one call with a client, and she signed a client at $500 a month. I can't remember if it was for 6 months or a year, but regardless, she made really good money because she posted about how her boyfriend had broken up with her, and it was like revenge tour, and she's getting in shape, and she's going to do X, Y, and Z, and she's talking about her breakup. And then somebody just reached out to her and were like, "Hey, I'm going through a breakup too. I would love, to work with you." It was a 15-minute sales call. She sold her at $500 a month. It's like, you never
That's
know,
it.
like when someone's going to resonate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Now, has something like that, like, or at least similar, happened for you?
I've a lot of mine. Whenever I open out about my mental health, I've had a lot of guys that will end up. I normally get DMs then that will want to have a conversation, and that normally leads to sales because I think that it's something that I think obviously men have got better at talking now, but obviously for the
Sure.
last 7 or 8 years I've been talking on and off about my mental health struggles, and then even now, like last year, I got diagnosed with ADHD, and when I
Mm-hmm.
shared out about that, the amount of people who got ADHD that have started messaging me, and at the minute, it's not something I want to work on, but I am thinking of doing a certification down that route because I think that it'd be a good tool how to use it as a superpower. But I definitely think sharing, the more you can share about yourself, it just opens you out. It might put some people off, but they were never going to be a client anyway.
No.
That's the way that I think. And I'm like, if somebody's put off by something I post, they're never going to be, they wouldn't be a
Yeah.
client, or if they would, they wouldn't be an ideal client. And
Exactly. No, that's the mentality I feel like you have to have.
Yes, 100%. You need to have thick skin.
You have to have thick skin, but you also have to have the ability to be okay with people not liking you, your content, wanting to work with you. I want that. I want that to be
Yes.
flushed out early and often. If we get on a triage and you're like, "Bro, I don't know, man. I just hate your voice, hate your face." It's never happened. But if it was going to, I'd rather it be on the
Yeah.
triage where it's like, "All good, man. I can't change that." Like, we
Yeah.
don't have to work together. It's totally fine. Like, there's zero hard feelings in my body if someone doesn't like resonate with my style, my
Yeah.
coaching, my tactics. Like, there's no hard feelings. It's just like, I just want to hear about it early. That's all.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah.
And just having that ability, I think, has helped me tremendously in scaling this business. And you tell me if it's different for you, but like telling people no, I don't mind it.
No. Yeah, I think it's probably something that's difficult at the start. I have to say, I think especially when I started more face to face, I found it really difficult. I take everyone and anyone on, and I look back now and I'm like, the clients that sat the life out of me, I'm like, why did I not just get rid of them now? And now I'm very
Yep.
comfortable, and I would just say, do you know what? I'm not the right client. I'm not the right coach for you. I could point you in the right direction for someone who might be better. And
Exactly.
then if I don't like the person, I might point them to a coach I don't like.
There you go.
But like generally speaking, I'll be honest. I'll just say, look, I don't think I'm going to be the right coach for you. I think that there'll be a lot more. You have a much better relationship with this coach, and I just point them in the direction of someone else that I know, because that
100%.
it works better that way. And then sometimes we get sent others.
Exactly. It's a lot of times when I talk about being able to tell clients no, though, and being okay with when they tell you no or that it's not a good fit, people think it comes from a position of privilege, right? Like, oh, your business is doing well enough, that X amount of money doesn't mean as much to you as it would for me. Like, that's my whole month of bills. And I get that. And I can absolutely appreciate that. But the problem is, it's like the chicken or the egg concept. Okay. You don't just, you can develop that over time. Like, if you build a big enough brand and someone's like, "I don't like you, I don't want to work with you," sure, you can be like, "F off, don't care." Like, you can develop that when you get to a certain point. But it's my belief, and again, maybe you feel differently, that you have to have that first to then be able to scale up. Because when you're polarizing and when you truly know like who you can help, how you can help them, and who you specifically don't want to help or who you can't help, when you clearly have those boundaries, you're going to scale much faster than someone who takes on anyone and everyone and gets shitty Google reviews because you in fact couldn't help them.
Exactly. That I think that's exactly it. And I think that it's recognizing that when someone's on the other end of a call, they're probably feeling slightly the same anyway. You know, like there's very
Yep.
rare that you're going to be like they're not the ideal client and they think you're the perfect coach. You know, that's probably not it. But
Yep.
yes, you can use things to handle objectives and get them over the line, and you know, drag the sale out. But then
Yeah.
you'll end up regretting it within like probably within a week. But you know, much further down
Exactly.
the line. And when you say no, I actually find I've always found now, and I genuinely believe it, when you say no to somebody who genuinely isn't for you, it opens a way for someone else to come in that is for you, and
Yes.
that's the way I see it. And I almost find that almost straight away. You know, you say no to someone, and then within a day or two, you've had more DMs coming in for inquiries, so it does come back to you.
Yeah. I'm gonna share a personal story on that exact concept without sharing any names, any details. I'm not here to slander anybody, but it happened literally this morning. Okay, so it's funny that this just happened to come up on this podcast. We, my closer and partner Wayne had closed somebody in on working with us, right? And he had the sales call, like the recording, everything. He stress tests something we always say. So if you ever get on a sales call with us, know this is genuine though. Just know this is genuine. We don't take hostages. We don't take hostages. I tell everyone, I don't want hostages. I want volunteers. I'm not going to drag you in a headlock or kicking and screaming, saying like, you have to scale your business with me. I don't care who you work with. Okay. If you're going to work with us, we have a certain style, maybe like a certain demeanor. Okay. And a lot of people like that. Some people don't. It's not for everyone. Okay. So we stress test a lot on these calls because the one thing I hate more than a no is a chargeback. Okay. So I want to make sure if we're doing this, we're doing this. So Wayne, he went through the whole process. I watched the call. He stress tested. He said, I don't take hostages. She was like, no, get me in. I'm like, okay, great. Well, something, I don't know what it was. I think it's fear, but neither here nor there. She said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to post. I'm not going to message. I don't even want to sell anyone. I don't want to do this anymore. And she piffed. And I was like, we have the recording. We have everything. The money's already in the bank account for the company. But if you don't want to work with us, I don't want you here. Like, it's just as simple as that. Like, I'm not kidding when I say I don't want hostages. Like, I just refunded her in full. I was like, hey, all good. No hard feelings. Let's just not waste each other's time anymore. Here's your money back. Like, good luck, good life.
Yeah.
I feel better about it.
That's
you know what I mean?
You can sleep at night.
I don't want hostage. I'm not going to work with you for the next 5.5 months begging you to do something, right? Or poking you with a stick like, hey, how's it going? Or you tell all your friends that we're mean and we suck and we stole all your money. And no, I'm not going to have it. It's just not worth it to me.
Yeah.
There's better clients out there. I'd rather give you your money and just pretend that we never even talked.
That's it. Move on.
Yeah. Now, have you had a situation like that in your business as well?
Yes, we have. We've had that with. I signed up, paid in full for the 6-month program. We'd only just started doing the high ticket sales as well. So it was one of our first, like literally our closer closed him within about 20 minutes. One call closed, buzzing, and within about a week he decided it wasn't for him, wanted his money back, and we were like, okay, well you've not even given it a go yet. And he was adamant he wanted the money back. And I was like, do you know what? We're not going to have this battle straight away, because I was already then starting to feel a little bit like nervous, because I think it's easy for me to sit here now and say like the high ticket transition was easy, but it took a lot of me breaking down internal beliefs, because we had a low barrier, sort of low price, monthly recurring business model that we just stopped overnight and went into high tickets. So it would have been easy for me to just say, no, we're going to refund him. He's not the right client. He's got his money back. That's it. And then funny enough, he then reached out to us months later about something else, and then started asking, "Are we still take clients?" Like, do you know what? He's not the right client for us. We're not replying back to him. It's just it's done. But we'd also heard of someone else. He does it with other people, so it's not. It wasn't just us. I think he maybe gets buyer's remorse, which I do think is genuine for some people. But it's like, yeah,
it is, but it's something that we can unpack that if you want, like how to overcome that. It just comes down to stress testing, getting them to say, yes, I am ready. It's like, are you sure? Okay. Because again, I don't want buyer's remorse. 2 days from now, you say, oh my God, what did I just do? Can I have my money back? I tell people that on the sales call too. this is part of like that push pull process that kind of made us, famous and like brought us up, like made C4F like
Yeah.
a name, was like that push and pull. I don't know of anyone else on sales calls that's like pushing, pushing, pushing. And it's like, if they're going to work with us, it's like, I need to see that you're serious about it. And it's the same thing in fitness. Everybody, they do, and they will say, I want to get fit this year. Ryan, I want to get fit. I want to get ripped. This is the year. I'm getting rid of the mom bod. I want to be a better me for me, my kids, my family. And then when it, like that, like the gun goes off, they freeze, don't they?
Yes.
And the way that you can prevent that is by stress testing throughout the call and seeing what they're going to do. So like when we push Ryan, what I'm doing, and maybe you've already heard this training, but for those who haven't, a push and a stress test are essentially the same thing. It's just asking little simple things like, are you sure? Or you're not just saying that to make me feel good, right? Okay, just want to make sure. Or saying, hey, we don't take hostages. Like, speak now or hold your peace. Like saying things like that, where it's like, I give them ample opportunities, ample, to end the call or to not buy. So if they do buy, it's very rare. That's actually the first time in history, which is why I brought it up. And because it's relevant, that someone's ever canceled like immediately. I was like, that is just the strangest thing. But one time in company history is not bad. And I think I would associate that with the amount of stress testing throughout that conversation.
To be fair, now it's only now you say that I can see that that's probably what happened in that particular sales call. He was probably a bit quick waving his money around, and we were new to the process of sales calls. Just,
Sure.
yeah, there's your card, then take it. And it was like, yeah, we didn't do any of that. Are you sure? Yep. So yeah, I can definitely see how that would help eliminate that.
I did it plenty when I was taking sales calls. But here's the thing though, is it's terrifying. You have to have a certain demeanor, a certain confidence to be able to push somebody away during a sale, when all we're taught traditionally in sales is like, oh no, if they got that card, snatch it, right? Even if they just flash it, you better get the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So having the confidence to push away, they're not used to that. So Ryan, if you're stress testing them, John and Sally, who they also spoke to online, who was like pull, like doing anything that they can, putting them in a headlock, trying to get them in, and you're like, no, I'm good either way. I mean, you tell me, is this a good fit? Does this feel right? They're going to gravitate towards you 9 times out of 10. It's like the, it's such a stupid reference, but the hot blonde at the bar, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're desirable and you have the ability to say no. So naturally people gravitate towards you, right?
Yeah. Love that.
Yes, sir. And by the way, guys, if you want the full coaching on this, I actually have a podcast. It's called the Push Pull Process. I don't know what episode it is. I want to say like 43 or 45. Search for that. I actually break down. I tell you guys the exact steps, like everything totally granular, broken down for you for free in a podcast. If you guys want to check that out after this. Now, Ryan, here's the part of the process or part of the podcast where they're going to get a ton of free advice. You are, the audience is. What's something that you're looking to improve on in your business right now?
I think for me, it's probably generating more leads. I think getting more leads on calls. I would say it's probably qualified leads on calls. It's always been the sort of roadblock that we've hit.
You said more leads, and then you emphasized on calls. So are you suggesting that the show rate's low or that the booking rate is low?
The booking rate's low.
Okay.
So we'll get maybe eight calls a week at the moment.
How many are you pitching to per day on average? Do you track that?
Yes. Each set is doing 50 on each platform, so it's 150. So that'll be about 300 a day.
300 conversations, right?
300 conversation starters a day, yeah.
Okay. You should be booking between 30 and 50% of pitched calls. So like a pitch call is like, yo, let's hop on a call, workshop some ideas together, right? Do you know how many on average they're looking to pitch out of those new conversations?
So like, for example, like today there was 6 pitched. So there was 6. So at the end of the day, I get a report. So I'd say it's probably between 4 and 6 pitched a day, but we definitely don't get the 2 to 3 calls a day, if that makes sense.
All right, there lies our problem, right? So we have to kind of work back, right? Which is why I'm doing the questioning that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Is it the show rate? No, it's before that. Okay. Is it the amount of conversations? No, it's actually how many are actually accepting the call. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the.
Are you following a specific process? Like, do you have something that you're like that's
Yes, we have
repeatable?
a 24-hour follow-up, a
Okay.
72-hour follow-up.
Okay.
Then we normally wait another week. Then we'll do like a GIF response, like a tumbleweed or something like
Sure.
that. And then if it doesn't, we normally put them into like a 8-week follow-up. Then where we just be like, hey, just reconnect and see what progress have you made in the last 8 weeks.
Okay. Okay. That's not bad. That's more structured than 90% of people. So good job on that. How are you tracking this? Is this in like a CRM, a pipeline?
So, no, my my lead setter has got spreadsheet and it is like phenomenal. That's why we've never changed it.
Mm,
I do have go high level, but we've never
hmm.
moved it all across because she doesn't miss a trick. So I'm like, if something
Okay.
works, I ain't fixing it.
Yeah. No, hey.
It-
So long as you have notes, do you have notes on like previous conversation and like what their
yes,
latest objection was, why they didn't get on a call, when they were last followed up? You're tracking all of that?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Well, she tracks it and then reports back. Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's take a pause. If you weren't tracking that, that would be the very first thing I would want. Okay. A systemized approach where you have a visual on your leads. You're tracking like if they been pitched to, when were they pitched, what was their objection, why didn't they want to get on the call, like what's their goal. Okay. So for everyone listening so far, if you're like, he just needs to fix his pitch and he'll be good. He has all the groundwork. Ryan is a more advanced coach. Obviously, he has a large team. If you don't have these processes in place, that's the foundation. Okay. Thankfully, Ryan has that. Right. And by the way, guys, you can use so many different CRMs. You can use high level. We have a build out where we already have like the whole pipeline laid out. You can use Monday.com. You can use Google Sheets. You can use Asana. Tons. Right. Have something where you can see a visual of your clients. Now, as far as the DM process, are your DMers following like a specific process each time? And are these organic or from ads or both?
Mostly organic, yeah. So LinkedIn, we have a slightly different, more professional script than we do to IG and Facebook.
Sure.
Most of our clients come from LinkedIn, if I'm honest.
And are you giving away value, or is it more of like, hey, how's it going? Chop it up. What are your goals? What are you working on? Do you want to hop on a call?
At first, it's normally trying to find out if they've got any goals first, and then asking, can we add any value? Have you got any questions? Then we try and link it to, would you be open to seeing how I could help you in a personalized way? If they say yes, then it's like, right, would you be cool if I sent you a link to book in a call?
Okay. I assume you have tons of lead magnets. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. What we tell people to do, you're gonna go through like a shitty phase in the business where you're making lead magnets nonstop until you have one for pretty much every scenario that your ideal client struggles with, and
I
then you are
probably do
fortified.
already on my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I would do if I were you, Ryan, when you're in a conversation with these guys and you kind of figure out maybe like a little bit of a gap, like, hey, I'm struggling with this and I want to get here. Who's your ideal client? Give me like a problem that you hear in the DMs.
Time. I think time's definitely
Okay.
the biggest one for me. It's like they're so focused on their work, and then it's like their concern is how much time they're going to spend.
Okay. So like a time perspective from like a busy job, probably dad has
Yes.
family,
Yeah.
kids, everything like that.
Yeah.
And do you have any guides around that?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. I've got the busy dad's guide to get in shape.
And are you sending it
It's
each time you
literally
hear
of
that?
me. No, no, I probably should. Yeah, you've just
Yeah.
given me that. That's going to be a game changer. So I'll start and send that out to people that haven't. Yeah, give them a bit of value.
You need to expect that most of your call bookings are going to be on the follow-up. Like very rarely, unless it's from like a direct DM ad where it's like, DM me fit. If you're looking to get fit right now and they DM you fit, then usually it's, 5-10 exchanges and then they're on a call, right? With organic, it takes a little bit longer. Sometimes you got to give them that lead magnet, then follow up next day. And it's like, yo, what were your takeaways? Oh, that's interesting. What are you doing now when it comes to that? Oh, you don't have a process. Got it. You cool if I share some thoughts on that?
I'm gonna
Okay.
have to take
It would
notes
take,
now.
yeah. No. This will be up so you can get it. But that's what I like to do. So it's coincidental. Every time someone says that they're struggling with something, I say, oh, dude, I just wrapped up an ebook, or I'm putting the finishing touches on a book, a mini book that's going to walk you through exactly how to do that. Do you want me to send it over once it's finished? They'll say yes. if they're even remotely interested. If they don't want free stuff, they're not interested at all. You got to wait and let the content kind of do its thing, right? Now,
Yeah.
where was I with that? If you don't have the ebook, that is okay. What do you think you should do?
Make one.
Make one. It's not hard. In
No.
fact, it's so disgustingly easy to make lead magnets. You just put a concept, ChatGPT, have ChatGPT give you 100 examples, right? Or write it all out for you, put it into your words, send it to Fiverr. It's $20 for them to take a Google Doc that looks like shit and then make it into a beautiful PDF with like a theme and some different images and everything. It's $20. So to make a lead magnet, it takes me 10 minutes. 10. I just immediately put it into a Google Doc, put it into ChatGPT, put it back into a doc, edit all the words, send to Fiverr. I have it back in 2 days. So I guess not 10 minutes, but like actual work, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you go to Fiverr and you say, I'll give you an extra $10 if you can get it back like in 12 hours, 9 times out of 10, they'll do it. So if you don't have the lead magnet, say, I'm just putting the finishing touches on XYZ to help you do A, B, and C. Want me to send it over once it's done? Cool. By the way, and then try to continue that conversation. If you have to end the conversation there or leave them on red, don't be afraid to. Okay? This is weird. And a lot of people do this. Leave them on red because just like that concept we talked about earlier, Ryan, you're not like dragging and pulling and trying to get them on a call, are you?
No, yeah.
You're just like, okay, cool. We're just two pals having a conversation. When I wrap it up, I'll send it over. Maybe leave them on red after the conversation kind of dies down. Send it back over to them the next day, and then you have something to chat about again.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
Love
for you, the big goal is to increase your pitch acceptance rate. So I want you to track that into a spreadsheet. It sounds like your VA is phenomenal with spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Track that this entire month. Okay. Everybody who doesn't agree to a call should go into a specific stage in a pipeline that was pitched and didn't agree. Okay. You're going to follow up those people very consistently, assuming they're at least somewhat interested.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds really good. Yeah.
Beautiful. Was that helpful?
No, really. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of those. And like you said, I've got probably a lot of the guides or lead magnets that I can give out. So it's like, I just need to go through, right, what was their goals in the conversation?
Yep.
I just thought of you and what's thought of you wanting to have a look at this.
And one step further from that, go back to those conversations. Like you were just saying, hey, I know last time we talked, you were struggling with this. I actually thought of that the other day and I started putting this XYZ guide together. Do you want me to send it over once it's finished? Or I just finished it, want me to send it over? That little like nuance thing where it's like, I thought of you the other day and I went ahead and I did this. I hope it helps. Want me to send it? What do you think is going to be their impression of you?
You've put your thought, they're not just, and they're actually a real person. And I think that's what most people want, isn't it? They want to feel like a real person.
What a good dude.
Yeah.
What a good dude. We chatted for a little bit, told him my problems. He went out and made a whole resource. Then he gave it to me for free. Are you kidding me? What do you think that says about you as a coach?
One of the good ones.
I would agree. You're willing to go out above and beyond to do what's necessary for them to get the results. I think you make a great first impression, even in the DMs. It's hard. It's hard to decline a call at that stage, in my opinion. I'll give you an example, a personal example. I had a podcast coach. I sucked at podcasts. I don't claim to be great now, but I know enough to get by. A guy actually reached out to me, podcast coach, didn't know those were a thing. He said, I watched 5 of your episodes. Here are my notes for each one. I was like, golly, 5? You listen to me talk 5 times for 15 to 50 minutes? Are you kidding me? And he took detailed notes. Like, this is not like some AI stuff. I was like, wow. He's like, dude, I actually offer like a coaching. Would it make sense for us to hop on a call? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it would. Okay. I don't know anything about this guy, but I'm like, that was so cool. And he had good, actionable takeaways. I'm like, this is like a genuine dude. Great guy.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I wound up having him host some different calls in our course. let him kind of have a platform for his podcast coaching. I think a few people went over to him, but like maybe he's listening to this right now. So appreciate you, Adam. You're a good dude. Lead with value and go above and beyond, and people will seriously, you might wind up on one of their podcasts someday getting a shout out.
Love it.
Yes, sir. Any other last question with that before I just give away the farm here? Are you doing 1 or 2 call closes?
1.
Okay. That's
we
another.
We did move to the two for a while, and we just found that the show up rate on the second call was much lower. So we were generating, actually, we were getting more calls booked in. So what we do now sometimes is, if someone seems a bit reluctant to book a 45-minute call with us, we then book a turbo coaching call with them, which is like the triage call then.
Sure.
But it's just because we did it for about a month. Our calls went higher, but then the actual end closes was significantly lower because the show up rate was much lower.
Mm-hmm. So what happens here? So one more quick lesson for you guys. We do a 2 call close. 2 call close, in my opinion, is the best model, but only if it's done correctly. I've done it back and forth. I've done a 1 call, 2 call, 1 call, 2 call. And I was like, I can't decide which one's better. And then finally I tried some different things, tried some kind of weird things with our 1 call close, tweaked a few things here. And now it just works. Now it's like a system that I fully endorse, where I was on the edge for a long time. Everybody should do a 2 call close, unless you are I don't even want to say unless. I fully endorse a 2 call close, especially for ads, because they're colder and you have 2 opportunities to warm them up with a little bit of time in between for it to really settle in. What happens if you do a 2 call close and they don't show up to the second one, assuming you move them on, because you should be ruling out a fair percent of them as well, right?
Yeah.
That ability to tell them no. That triage has to be conducted in a way that creates curiosity, and you leave them on a cliffhanger. Okay? You leave them at the end of the 15-minute call, the triage call, with like some questions. It's like, oh, I didn't even think about it like that. Oh, that might be going on. Okay, never thought of that. And you leave them right there when they're questioning the most. And then you're like, hey, that's it for time. Would it make sense to do a deep dive, uncover exactly what's going on, and build out a strategy together on a more in-depth call? You'll get a yes 9 times out of 10, and they will show up if they're nurtured effectively in between, and if they were curious enough, and if you open the gap enough on the triage call. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why our system is so freaking clean, because we focus so much on the triage and the nurturing, where a lot of people just focus on the closing call.
Makes sense.
Last piece with that, because I'm just giving away a shit ton here, which I'm happy to, by the way. I had this exact conversation with a FSA client that came in last Friday, and she's done a 1 call forever. She's gone back and forth. So I literally had this exact conversation with her. She went back to a 2 call, and part of her issue, she's running ads, but she was having an issue with like the pitch and them not accepting the call. She switched to a 2 call yesterday, booked 5 calls yesterday. 5. Not bad. I mean, depending on the size of your business, like maybe there's some multi 7-figure coaches that are like, that's it. But 5 calls in one day is significant. And it's because more people are willing to accept a 15-minute phone call over a 45 to 60-minute Zoom call with someone they don't even know.
Yeah.
So a triage, you're going to foster a better relationship. You have more touch points. You're going to be able to nurture them effectively and build more trust. And then they're more likely to accept the call just to begin with, because it's a lower barrier to entry.
That makes perfect sense.
Cool. Any questions at all, Ryan?
I feel gold that.
Love that, man. Anything you want to shout out to the audience? You can, this is your chance to promote books, promote anything you want.
No, I don't think there's anything that I massively want to promote. I think obviously what you're saying, obviously I've followed you and what you talk about for a long time. And I think there's so much value, and obviously now having this conversation is just going to definitely help me. And I think the big thing what I've learned from my time in the industry so far is actually taking action. A lot of people will procrastinate and think and put things off, but then as FitPros, we're telling people not to do that. So it's very much like, actually, you've got to grab the bull by the horns, and it's like, do you know what? The first thing I'm going to do tomorrow with my set is be like, look, we're going to change to 2 call close.
Nice.
And then it will just be
Now, if it doesn't work right away, let me reach out and let me make sure that things are rolling smooth. And I didn't even tell you guys, by the way, Ryan is such a good dude. Him and I have followed each other for so long. We just met for the first time, last week?
Yeah.
And we just chopped it up and we're like, dude, let's hop on a podcast. But the funniest thing, like I've never worked with Ryan in any capacity aside from just DMing him on every platform and following up with him relentlessly. So don't feel like we have this like this relationship like we work together forever. Like he is legitimately a coach coming on, and I just want to provide as much value as I can. If we work together down the road, great. If not, I've got a pal at least when I come over across the big pond, right?
That's it, definitely.
All right. So my CTA for you guys, for anyone listening, if you're a FitPro and you want to get some free advice, come on, be featured on a podcast, get a platform to be able to, I don't know, to put yourself out there. I am hosting FitPros just like this. I'm going to drop knowledge every single week. If you're interested, DM me podcast on any platform. I've got all the links in the show notes. So DM me podcast for a chance to get on and get some questions answered. Ryan, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you hopping
Thanks
on.
a lot. Cheers. Cheers, Brent.
All right.